Hi there, it's Fred Sweet. Welcome to Guitar Media's I Rewired My Les Paul video. We're here today to take a look at this 2024 made in China Gibson Les Paul Custom 3 pickup with Bigsby. Alright, so I'm going to have to draw up some diagrams to help you understand what was going on, what they recommend to go on, and what we've got going on. But the bottom line is, when we got this guitar, the bridge position was just that, the bridge humbucker. And then in the middle position, we would get all 3 humbuckers. And then in the neck position, we would get the middle humbucker and the neck humbucker, which I thought was very strange. And also, something else I didn't like is that when we would turn the bridge volume all the way down, it would turn everything down, and same for the neck volume, which was actually at the time the middle and neck volume. It would also turn everything down. I didn't like that. So once again, the way this guitar was wired before, you basically had 3 positions and 3 different sounds. And while you could blend the bridge with the neck in the middle when all pickups were playing, or blend the neck in the middle while all pickups were playing in the middle position, still essentially it was like a regular Les Paul that had 3 sounds, and it just didn't do it for me. So what I decided to do was go with the Mary Ford recommendation, and actually it's a certain wiring diagram that allows you to change your volumes to volumes that don't turn everything down. So when you turn the volume down, it just turns the volume down on whatever pickup you have connected to that volume. So what we did is we did away with this tone in the neck position, and what we did is we actually wired the middle pickup to that tone control and turn it into a volume control. So now we have 3 separate volume controls and a single master tone control. And what this does is actually gives us now a total of 7 sounds, which I'll demonstrate later in the video. Alright, so the way this guitar works now is the bridge pickup is wired to the bridge volume like it normally would be, and the tone works like it normally would. And when you're in the bridge position on the switch, only the bridge pickup with bridge volume and bridge tone function, just like any other SG or Les Paul, no different whatsoever. Okay, so when we go to the middle position, that's when everything changes. So the middle pickup is wired to what normally would be the neck tone pot, and it is the volume pot for the middle pickup. The neck volume is what it would normally be wired to on a regular SG or Les Paul, and then the bridge volume also works as it normally would. So now this middle position with everything functioning in a master tone control allows you to actually get the full 7 sounds, and which I can go through right away. So the bridge pickup is number 1, the bridge in the middle is number 2, the middle is number 3, the middle and neck is number 4, the neck is number 5, all 3 is number 6, and the neck and the bridge is the 7th position, and the 7th sound. Okay, so when we go to the neck on the switch, the neck position on the switch, what this does is eliminates the bridge pickup, bridge volume, and bridge tone out of the circuit. So now it's just the neck in the middle, and you can blend them in to your heart's desired. And really the thought behind this eliminating the tone control is in the hopes that we would attain more of a full range sound in the neck position for acoustic type tones for playing chords. It didn't seem to be very noticeably different, although on a meter it does read a little higher without the tone in the circuit. The wiring diagram you see here is all the wiring for this guitar, so they're all the same, and it's the wiring diagram for the way this guitar is now currently wired. And one more thing, although it seems quite obvious, blending is the way that you get all 7 sounds when you're in the middle position. It's just by turning the volume up on that pickup or blending it, all 3 of the pickups with the volumes. So that's what allows you to access each pickup individually or together in that position. So sadly, with this guitar, we also experience highly microphonic pickups. And so anytime we would use overdrive or gain excessively or raise the volume or even play directly in front of the speaker, we would get an uncontrollable feedback and basically just not be able to use it in that way. So what we had to do was wax the pickups. And so I actually went to Michael's and picked up 2 pounds of paraffin wax. It's about $10 a pound now, and it turns out all I needed was 1 pound. But I ended up putting it into crushing it with a hammer and a flathead screwdriver and putting it into a glass mason jar. And these mason jars, you can actually take the lid off and there's a ring there. And what I did is I put the ring under the mason jar and I essentially boiled it in just a regular pan on the stove, on an eye on the stove. And what this did is it just kept the glass away from direct heat so that it wouldn't crack the glass. And I was able to melt the wax. And it was just easier to take the pickups out, as I had already decided to rewire the Les Paul anyways. Made it easier to wax each one of the pickups. And really, even before I did that, I also decided that it's time to get my out-of-phase humbucker. And so I actually took a chainsaw sharpener and cut the cover off the pickup and then disassembled it, flipped the magnet around, and I didn't do it the way that they recommend. A lot of people say that they recommend that you windmill the magnet, but what I did is I tumbled the magnet. But regardless, I was able to successfully reverse the polarity on the middle position humbucker. And so now anytime the middle position humbucker is in use with another humbucker, it creates an out of phase tone as the humbuckers with reverse polarity interact with one another. However, if you just play the middle humbucker by itself, it still sounds very much like a regular humbucker. And although the polarity is reversed, maybe drop some volume slightly. And we do run it lower anyways, just to give us room to pick and play and dig into the guitar a little more. So after all, it really is amazing just what you can do with a made in China Gibson copy with 1 pound of wax and a soldering iron. So without, changing the pickups or the pots. And interesting enough, these made in China Les Pauls, at least this one, has 16K ohm pots, which is something that's really quite different. And another thing about this particular guitar is it is solid mahogany like the 1954 Les Paul. And we found that really surprising because we weren't expecting to see such a nice wood selection on such a cheap guitar. And yeah, like I said before, this thing was just more or less a jazz guitar and really only reaching regular Les Paul territory as far as brightness, and maybe not even quite that much bite that even a regular Les Paul has in the middle position. But now we can get as bright as a Telecaster or a Stratocaster, and of course it is a completely different sound, but we can go from that all the way to jazz. With the neck, you can roll the tone back and just go into super bass territory. So the spectrum is incredible, and it works pretty good with high gain. I haven't really done any heavy metal riffs, so I'm not sure if it's really capable of extreme conditions. But other than that, So I just wanted to go over some popular Gibson 3 pickup wiring configurations and maybe just a few that I've dealt with in the past. So the Frampton, for one, is basically what you have there is you have the neck and the bridge humbucker wired to the neck volume, and then you have the middle pickup wired to the bridge volume. And this allows you to blend the blend the middle position humbucker into any position. So without the use of the middle humbucker, the guitar essentially acts as a regular Les Paul, like a 2 pickup Les Paul. And while that's all good and well, and you can still get the 7 sounds, I just didn't even bother looking up the Peter Frampton wiring diagram. And the reason why is because right off the bat, I like the Mary Ford wiring diagram better. Now, her pickup configuration allows for the middle humbucker to have its own volume, the bridge humbucker to have its own volume, and the neck humbucker to have its own volume. And the way they wired it is the switch actually deletes the neck pickup out of the circuit when you're in the bridge position. All pickups play in the middle position, and then the switch eliminates the bridge out of the circuit in the neck position. And so it's very similar to the Peter Frampton, except for it incorporates the use of a master tone control. And while, don't get me wrong, I thought that was a very good idea. And really, ultimately, the reason why I like the Mary Ford the best is because the way they wire the Mary Ford Les Paul, the volumes, when you turn them all the way down, do not turn all the other volumes down. Whereas, other circuits do. And that's why I gravitated to the Mary Ford circuit right away. And as much as I liked it, it was kind of a crapshoot, like a shot in the dark, because I was aware that the Made in China Les Paul had 16K ohm pots. I thought, what we can do here is it's actually for 2 reasons. For that reason, and also due to the fact that I didn't want to run another wire from the switch all the way to the control cavity. So essentially what I did is I actually jumped middle volume and neck volume to the switch on the same wire. And the reason why I did this is because I wanted to actually eliminate the tone control when I go to the neck position because of the 16K ohm pots. And so it turns out that the sound really isn't any different with the tone control eliminated. So technically when I'm in the middle or the neck, it really sounds pretty much the same, but it still allowed me to not have to run another, it not only allowed me to not have to run another wire to the switch, but also the way this is wired now, it actually eliminates the out of phase sound and the middle position from the bridge position. Now the Mary Ford circuit does not do that, and neither does the Peter Frampton circuit. And the reason why I personally don't like that is because sometimes when I'm playing, I don't want to have to actually go back to my volume controls and dial them into whatever sound I want. Sometimes when I'm playing, I like to use the switch to immediately change the sound drastically, whether it be from a low output sound, a kill switch sound, or really just whatever I want. And not to say that I'm limitless and can do absolutely anything, but obviously have much more control in that way than either one of those other circuits, as well as vintage 3-pickup Gibson guitars that I've played in the past, where they were wired with the middle position out of phase with the bridge position, like my 69 SG Custom and like the one that Jimi Hendrix played. And honestly, I don't even know how they did that, but that was also very limiting and basically proving to be just three sounds, bridge, out of phase, and neck. And I don't know. I just find this so much more usable, the out of phase with the neck, because it really helps to fill out the sound. Well, I guess that about wraps it up. Thanks for watching, and check our channel for our latest videos.